Hello, YouTube divers. This is Water Dive 122, and I want to welcome you all to another episode of Magic Metal Mondays. So today we are going to be doing the re-ranking of one of my favorite power metal bands of all time, really one of my favorite bands of all time, Sonata Arctica, Finnish power metal legends, and we got a lot of stuff we need to talk about with this band. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get started with the re-ranking. We're ranking all 11 of their albums, including their new one, Clear Cold Beyond, which was released last year. So let's go ahead and get this party started. Coming in at number 11, no surprise here, we have Stones Grow Her Name from 2012. Literally the only bad album they've made in their entire catalog. I rated it a 4 out of 10 on my review for this album. And it still stands. I do not like this album at all. It has a lot of really, really bad songs, most notably with Crap Load of Money, Somewhere Close to You, and especially Cinder Blocks, which I like bluegrass music. I like spaghetti western music. That's not the issue. My issue is that it was so sloppily put together and it was so sloppily executed, poorly executed for that matter, and it just felt like it was written just for the heck of it. So, yeah, there's that. Little to no effort I felt like was put into this song to make this type of experimentation work, and also the production on this album sucks. Like. This is their worst sounding album to date. It is very overproduced. It is very loud and is very harsh in a lot of songs. And it just doesn't feel unnuanced or inspired at all. Stones Grow Her Name. Really, really bad album. I gave it a 4 out of 10. The only F-tier album in their catalog, and it's a shame because they almost had a flawless discography, but Stones Grow Her Name had to screw it up. But that said, there are at least a few tracks I found enjoyable on here. Only the Broken Hearts Make You Beautiful, Losing My Insanity and Don't Be Mean are both amazing ballads. Alone in Heaven has a nice chorus. And both of the Wildfire sequels, especially with Part 2, are the highlights on this album, but that's it. This album is really, really bad. Go listen to those 5 songs I mentioned, and maybe I have a right since it was like the biggest hit on this album. Just avoid this album at all costs. Don't like this album. And then coming in at number 10, we have the 2007 album Unaya, the last album to feature Jani Liimatainen on the guitars. This is easily their worst album from their classic era, also known as their first 6 albums or 5, depending on who you ask. Like with Stones Grow Her Name, the production is atrocious on this album. It is so bad and it's so inconsistent, which makes it all the more frustrating in my opinion. I will say though, songwriting wise, Unaya is a way better album than Stones Grow Her Name. It has Paid in Full, For the Sake of Revenge, Caleb, My Dreams But a Drop of Fuel for a Nightmare, and the beautiful ballad that is good enough, and especially with Under Your Tree being my favorite track on the album. Really, this album shines in its softer songs and its amazing, amazing ballads, but man, I wish this album was better produced. I would love to hear a remastered version of this album, specifically with tracks like In Black and White, The Harvest, The Vice, and Fly with the Black Swan. I would love to hear a remastered version of those songs. But as it stands, Unaya, 7 out of 10, C-tier album. Probably not an album I would return to if I had the choice. So Unaya comes in here at number 10. Coming in at number 9, we have the 2014 album Pariah's Child. Now, from this pick onwards, I love every single one of these albums. Um, yeah, so I gave this album an 8.5 out of 10, and I still stand by that. Pariah's Child is probably the best sounding album that they've made since Reckoning Night, if you ask me. And songwriting wise, this album takes a massive step up from Stones Grow Her Name. It's almost amazing to me that they released such a poor album with Stones Grow Her Name, and then they rebounded in such a big way with Pariah's Child. Pariah's Child has amazing songs on here. The opening track, The Wolves Die Young, which is my favorite song on the album, opens up this album, and it is already way better than every single song on the previous album combined. Um, yeah, The Wolves Die Young, definitely one of the best songs from the modern era, and in my opinion, one of the best songs they've ever made. Then we have Running Lights, which is really nice. You have Cloud Factory, which has a really funny chorus, or at least sonically speaking. Then you have Blood, which is a great power metal song. Half a Marathon Man is fantastic. Love is a really nice ballad with some cool vocal and musical parts. And then Larger Than Life has to be one of their best epics, if you ask me. Despite it having some parts here and there that I don't really care for. Check out my album review for this album if you want to have a more in-depth perspective. But yeah, Pariah's Child, a really good album from start to finish. Yeah, an 8.5 out of 10. It's a solid album. So with that said, Pariah's Child comes in here at number 9. Number 8, we have the 2016 album, The Ninth Hour. This is the follow-up album from Pariah's Child. And while the production quality, in my opinion, takes a little bit of a dip here on The Ninth Hour, I feel like this album capitalizes on its atmosphere. This is a very atmospheric and emotional sounding album. Like, if you like, I don't know, if you like the atmosphere from bands like Anathema or My Dying Bride, I really think this album would be up your alley. It's a very somber and atmospheric album while also retaining some power metal songs in here. My favorite of these power metal songs would have to be Fly, Navigate, Communicate. But you also have others like Closer to an Animal and Fairy Tale, which both have amazing choruses, especially with Fairy Tale. Then you have Life, which is a symphonic metal song that sounds very much in the vein of Nightwish, specifically what they were doing in this era. Then you have We Are What We Are and Candlelons, which are both amazing ballads. Then you have Till Death's Done Us Part, which is another very rocking song, which also combines their take on atmosphere, which just makes it all the more enjoyable, if you ask me. But then my favorite song on this album, and of course one of my favorite tracks from Sonata Arctica in general, White Pearl, Black Oceans, Part 2, By the Grace of the Ocean. I have said multiple times that the White Pearl, Black Ocean series is the best story of any kind that Tony Kakko has written for the band. And I'm not going to sound like a broken record here, but it absolutely is. And with White Pearl, Black Oceans Part 2 in particular, this is my favorite epic song of theirs. They're my favorite song from them that goes over the 10-minute mark. But yeah, White Pearl, Black Oceans Part 2, gorgeous song from start to finish. This album, The Ninth Hour, really, really nice and underrated album. 8.5 out of 10. I like it just a tad bit more than Pariah's Child, but if you want to hear my in-depth thoughts about it, go check out its individual album review. All right, now coming in at number 7, we have the 2019 album, Talvio, which, if y'all can tell, I'm wearing the Talvio shirt right here. Definitely definitely one of the best shirts in my collection, if I do have to say so myself. The only Sonata Arctica shirt I own. But anywho, Talvio, a wonderful album from start to finish. This still remains as one of my favorite records from the band. And it's another 8.5 out of 10 album for me. I think the songwriting takes a little bit of a dip here, as does with the atmosphere. But where this album shines is its vibes. because I mentioned this in the album review for Talvio. Talvio is Finnish for winter, and as you can see here on my shirt here, it's very much a wintry and icy album, especially with tracks like The Last of the Lambs, Who Failed the Most, A Little Less Understanding, The Raven Still Flies, The Garden, and especially with my favorite track on the album, Ismos Got Good Reactors, which is an instrumental cut. Very nice, and of course, Message from the Sun opens up this album with a banger and a whirlwind, a very dark and ominous song. But yeah, Talvio still remains one of my favorite records from Sonata Arctica, and in my opinion, it still remains as their most underrated album to date. So yeah, Talvio comes in here at number 7. Number 6 is the 2003 album Winter Hearts Guild. This is another 8.5 out of 10 album for me, and yeah, I mean, it still stands as a great album. This took a massive leap over compared to my previous Sonata Arctica album rankings. It has two of my all-time favorite songs from the band, with Abandoned Please, Brainwashed Exploited, and Victoria's Secret, the latter of which is a top 10 song from Sonata Arctica in general for me. Then you have Graven Image, which is gorgeous. The Cage and The Rest of the Sun Belongs to Me are both amazing power metal songs. Broken and Draw Me are another pair of amazing power ballads. And The Ruins of My Life is a very, very underrated album closure, if you ask me. A very underrated song from the band, especially in the grand scheme of their classic era. But yeah, Winter Hearts Guild has definitely grown on me since the first time I listened to it. And now I absolutely love it now. So yeah, Winter Hearts Guild comes in here at number 6. Let's talk about my top 5 Sonata Arctica albums. Coming in at number 5, we have their most recent album, 2024's Clear Cold Beyond. So it's been a while since I returned back to this album, but again, I'm very happy that I did, because man oh man, do these songs hit. Tony Kako vocally sounds way different than on any of the other previous albums, including Talvio and The Ninth Hour and Pariah's Child. But in my opinion, that's a good thing, because it gives this album a whole new vibe and atmosphere. It does have some of the production complaints that I had on Winter Hearts Guild, but like with Winter Hearts Guild, it's overproduced, yes, but it's entertaining and really fun. It actually feels huge and feels bombastic in some ways. This is especially apparent on tracks like Angel Defiled, the title track, Teardrops, and Cure for Everything. But then on songs like The First in Line, Dark Empath, and my favorite song on the album, A Monster Only You Can't See, this definitely shows off Tony Kako's veteran songwriting and composing experience, and these are, in my opinion, the strongest tracks on the album, especially with A Monster Only You Can't See, and it being one of my favorite songs from this era. Clear Cold Beyond, in general, I think it's the best album the band has put out since the days of Grays. I think this is the best album they've made in their modern era. So yeah, congratulations, a 9 out of 10 album. Clear Cold Beyond, love this album. Now, coming in at number 4, we have the 2009 album, The Days of Grays. Another 9 out of 10 album for me, and another album that has always been one of my favorites from the band. You have both versions of Everything Fades to Gray, whether it's the instrumental or the version with lyrics. Regardless, it's just an amazing song overall. Then you have Death Aura, which features the wife of Nightwish's Tomas Halapainen. I don't remember her name to save my life, but yeah, this is one of 2 songs on the album that features her as a guest vocalist, as is with No Dream Can Heal a Broken Heart, another phenomenal track on the album. Then you have Flag in the Ground, which still stands as one of their most popular songs. Breathing is a really strong ballad from the band. Then you have Juliet, which continues the Caleb saga. Then you have As If the World Wasn't Ending, which is a really nice track. And then you have another one of my top 10 favorite Sonata Arctica songs with The Last Amazing Grace, which is just one of the most which is another one of the greatest songs they made in their modern era, or really in their classic era, if depending on how you look at it. But yeah, Last Amazing Grace, a fantastic song from start to finish. Now, coming in at number 3, we have the 2004 album, Reckoning Night. So with Reckoning Night, I alluded to this when I made my initial review of this album. This was the album that saw the biggest jump in quality from my previous ranking all the way up to now. You have amazing classic songs on the album like Misplaced, Blinded No More, My Celine, Ain't Your Fairy Tale, Reckoning Day, Reckoning Night, Don't Say a Word, Shaman Delay, Wildfire, and especially White Pearl, Black Oceans. One of the best songs the band has ever made, in my opinion. And again, it just further proves that Tony Kakko is a genius when it comes to writing these loved-based songs. I rated this album a 9.5 out of 10, and it's no wonder why Sonata Arctica fans worshipped this album as if it was a religion. Solid A grade here for Reckoning Night. Definitely the album that I loved the most on this re-listen outside of the top 2. Which, speaking of the top 2, if you've been playing along with me since the very beginning, then you know what they are. Number 2, we have Silence from 2001, their sophomore album. This album just has amazing power metal songs from start to finish. You have Webballergy and Wolf and Raven, two of another pair of my top 10 favorite songs the band's ever made, especially with Wolf and Raven being a top 5 song for me from Sonata Arctica. And in my opinion, it probably has Tony Kakko's best vocal performance, probably in his whole career. Then you have the end of this chapter, which is a really nice song. You have Black Sheep and San Sebastian, Singing Silence, and The Power of One. All of those songs are great, but where this album shines are on its ballads. It has 2 amazing ballads, well, technically 3 if you count the end of this chapter, which are The Last Drop Falls and Tallulah. Both are among the best ballads that the band has ever put out, especially with Tallulah, which just, you can hear the heartbreak in Tony Kakko's voice when he sings this song. It's very sad. I'll just put it to you that way. Tallulah, another one of the best songs the band's ever made. But yeah, Silence, 10 out of 10, A+, flawless album. One of the best power metal records ever made. And then finally, number 1, we have Ecliptica from 1999, the greatest debut album in my opinion. And yeah, obviously 10 out of 10, A+. Every single song on this album is just completely flawless from start to finish. Blank File, My Land, Eighth Commandment, Replica, Kingdom for a Heart, Full Moon, Letter to Dana, Unopened, Destruction Preventer, the bonus track Mary Lou, which I wish was on this album. And then my favorite Sonata Arctica song of all time, Picturing the Past. What more do you want me to say? Ecliptica absolutely rules. It's one of my favorite albums of all time. And probably my favorite power metal album of all time. I don't know. It rivals the Keeper of the Seven Keys duology from Halloween. I will say that. But yeah, Ecliptica, flawless album from start to finish. Yeah, one of my all-time favorite albums. So yeah, with that said, that concludes this edition of Magic Metal Mondays. Thank you so much for watching, my fellow YouTube divers. This is WaterRide122 signing out. Ready to dive and more fun on YouTube. Thanks for watching.